From ScreenJunkies Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is ScreenJunkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Greetings, Screen Junkies. Welcome to an awesome edition of Movie Fights. I'm calling it awesome already because I love these three people that are here to fight today, and we have some amazing topics, including Suicide Squad trailer. We're going to talk about it, the new one, best moments. Wonder Woman. We have a Wonder Woman expert right next to me. We're going to talk about some Wonder Woman topics as well as who should play Han Solo, etc., etc. All fun stuff, so let's get to it. I want to introduce our fighters, writers of such awesome comics as Batwoman, Manhunter, and Wonder Woman 77. It's Mr. Marc Andreyko.
How are you, Andy?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. You were saying beforehand, have I decided who's going to win yet? No, I haven't.
No, I said, have you decided which of these two is going to win?
Oh, it's fair enough. But no, I never decide in advance, Mark. It's
I've never
always
won
based on the
for the
arguments.
record.
But have you wait, so what, now I'm losing records, as we don't say it in the beginning. How many you've won once?
Just my first time I won, and that was it.
And that was a good battle. And you have fought Mr. Reilly on the end. I'm cutting to you next.
Were you the
when
one
I was there?
won?
Managing editor of GeekNation.com, host of Meet the Movie Press, Marc Reilly. You guys are back together to fight. I can't remember. He beat you.
He did beat me. So this is a revenge trip here.
Well, if you guys are lucky, you might not be
Maybe
able to
not.
pull it off because in between you both is the one who's going to sneak it all out. It's Erin Robinson from Clevver Movies and the upcoming amazing race.
Yes! February 12th, CBS.
Oh, nice.
Watch me lose my ever-loving mind on
I'm
national
so excited
television.
to see this.
Yeah.
I've never been able to watch a season of a show like that while I know the person.
It's
so I'm
crazy.
kind of excited.
Well, since
I'm gonna totally bug you every day. Like, did that happen? Did that happen?
I'll give you the truth.
And since your helicopter's on the roof, we know you won, right?
Exactly.
That was you? Oh, okay.
I dare not say if I won.
Oh, I can
She's
only
here,
imagine.
guys.
Might
I mean,
be the
come
face
on.
of a
If
millionaire.
she won. I'm sure she wouldn't be here.
That's not true. I love movie fights more than
That's fair.
anything.
Well, I'm
so-
just saying because you'd be a millionaire, right? Oh no, they don't give $1 million on
But
that.
I'd be, yeah, no, they do. They give $1 million
Oh, but
to
you
the
have to
winner.
split it with your partner.
Yeah, that's right.
Still, and a lot of taxes. It doesn't actually all equal.
not a
out.
lot of money.
It's not like the Powerball. Well, anyway, welcome. I'm sure that was an amazing experience. Yes.
It was. It was really amazing. Although I lost a lot of my movie time of watching movies and figuring out what was happening for 2 months. So I'm a little bit behind the rest of the world.
But you're
I'm
catching
up.
Good. All right. Well, we'll tune in. February when?
12th.
Wow,
Friday
exciting, guys.
night.
Everyone tune in and root for Team Clevver.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, on the couch today, always keeping us honest and keeping the facts straight, it's Mr. Dan Merle.
Hi there.
Dan.
I'm already doing some fact checking. I've got more than one win in the books for Mark.
No.
No?
You checking our wiki that got
Ours-
canceled
my-
because someone said we can't have a wiki?
My statistics.
Why's that?
My statistics say differently. But
Now, what does it say?
There's some at least two here that I see.
Who won the last fight with Mark versus Mark? You'll have to find that out for me because now we're
me.
over 100 episodes
me.
or 550 episodes. I can't remember them all.
Yeah,
now.
I can't
You guys are all like
remember them
Meryl
either.
Streep of movie fights. You have a million wins under your belt.
You haven't won yet?
I got close. I think Dan and I were in the bottom. We were neck and neck. He beat me in one of the very first rounds.
Well, this will be fun then. A lot of people want the victory here, so I love it. Let's play
I want
hard.
it.
Jason Inman won the Marc Reilly, Marc Andreyko.
That's right. It was
fight.
Inman.
Oh, that's right.
Jason.
So you both lost. So
That's
maybe,
right, we both lost.
Hopefully, maybe you'll both lose again.
So this isn't revenge, Mark. This isn't revenge at all.
All right. Well, you guys know how this works. You've all played. Those of you who are watching at home for the first time, it's about the facts, the passion, the creativity. It's about the arguments. It's not what I like. I really am trying my best to stand out. I know no one believes it, but it's true. But that's how it's working. So, any questions before we begin? Then let's cue Will Ferrell.
Now let's do this!
This is where we fight!
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 Round one. As I adjust my chair, get closer to Mark. Can I call you Andreyko? Just so we're not confusing today. Sure. Andreyko and Reilly.
That's what
right,
everybody
great.
calls me.
Round one. This is a big week for DC. It started with the release of the new full-length trailer for Suicide Squad. So this was the most asked question of the week, but D Nasty Kuberbo, your boy Dynasty, there
Dynasty.
you go, asked us, wants to know what's the best moment in the Suicide Squad trailer. Now I want you guys to be specific. You gotta be
It
specific.
doesn't say moment, it says best part.
Well,
Part
I'm reading
is
the question, and the question I'm judging you all is the best moment.
Oh, so you ignore the viewers, too.
And best moment in the trailer is what we're doing. And the reason I'm doing that because I heard Mark is going with a vague topic, and I hope he doesn't because now it's your choice. We're getting there. But you can do whatever you want, Mark. But I want to be specific so we know what's the best moment when you saw the moment in the trailer. You're like, that's that's why this is going to work. Marc Andreyko, what are you picking?
Well, since it was best part, I was going to go with the Joker's arc in the trailer in general. But because that's considered not specific enough, I will go with the image of the Joker laying on the ground, laughing that creepy laugh with the guns and the knives all around him like some weird M.C. Escher, Gustav Klimt crazy mashup. I think that Jared Leto has really, in the little bits we've seen, has already made a Joker of his own that honors what went before. And I'm no Jared Leto fan. I thought he didn't deserve the Oscar for losing weight and clutching his pearls in the AIDS movie. But this, I'm allowed to say it, I'm gay. So deal with it. But this looks like a great performance. He looks so committed and so scary and so frightening. And it like I said, it embraces what we know about the Joker, but it makes him new and vibrant.
Great. Okay. Awesome. And you picked one. I love it. Erin, what's your moment?
So my moment is when Jai Courtney loses all his shit on whatever group of people are around him when he comes out of the body bag. First of all, Jai Courtney is not a talented actor, in my opinion. Every single thing I've ever seen him in, he's like a stick of wood. He's so boring. He has there's no arc to any of his characters. His voice is awful. It's like Hollywood keeps trying to make Jai Courtney happen. Like, it's not gonna happen until I saw him in this trailer. And to me, he was hilarious. He literally was kind of like what Drax was in Guardians, kind of like the comedic relief. He looks like he should be a character actor, a comedic actor. Like maybe he's just been cast in all the wrong movies up until this point. I just think he looks batshit crazy. And while I do agree with you, Jared Leto as the Joker, I really am coming around to it. We've already seen him before. This wasn't like the first look at him. We've seen him talk before. So it wasn't, the Joker's scenes in this trailer weren't that powerful for me because I've already seen him perform and I've seen enough. I don't want to say any more. Please save some DC. But I think that the Joker is kind of not an exciting part anymore. There are a lot of other new, fresh, exciting things. Jai Courtney being one of them. Like, who would have expected that?
Maybe he might happen now. You might have just made him a thing, Erin.
I might have Hollywood.
He's trending now.
Took a long enough.
Put him in some comedies.
He is a great agent, huh? My God, good
he's
for
so
whoever that is. Dan,
terrible.
look up who that agent is. I want to
Terminator
give
was
them
awful.
Jai Courtney's agent.
I will
or
try to
manager.
find out who it is.
And listen, when you're the worst part about the Divergent franchise, you know it's bad.
Oh,
All right, Marc Reilly, what part are you thinking about?
I am going with what appears to be Joker saving Harley Quinn in some kind of vat of acid and the colors that are coming out. Not only is it interesting to me, it's a beautiful shot. So it was like one of the most powerful, there it is, one of the most powerful images from the trailer. Now, I love the Joker, and Marc, your point, I loved him laying around the guns. Jai Courtney, that's clever editing. Come on, it's Jai Courtney.
No, I really think he's going to pull this one out.
But with what's the most interesting, everybody's always wondering with Suicide Squad, how are they going to do Harley Quinn? How is the Joker going to be? And this is interesting with the Joker, is that you're actually seeing something different. Is he actually saving Harley Quinn? Because I don't think they're doing her origin. It looks like it's jumping off of the origin, but he helps her out of that. He doesn't jump into it. So what I'm finding, that's very interesting to me.
No, I thought he was jumping into
Wait.
it. Oh,
Save him.
sorry.
Well, are you?
I-
No,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
for
that's
it.
it.
Yeah, I thought he was. He did jump into
No, he
the
did.
vat.
That's what I'm saying. In the comics, he's
I
helping
see.
her out. In this,
There's
he's
a
jumping
version of the
right
origin
in.
story where that's how, right.
That's
and
what's
there's been
interesting
some,
to me.
Some conspiracy or some articles saying they're unhappy with that. I think Dan, look that up too.
I've
just to
seen
make
that too, yeah,
people
but-
are complaining that they're implying that must be the origin, and that's not the good origin of Harley Quinn.
People are complaining online about a DC property.
but we don't know. We
But
don't
that's
know. So
but that's a
I'm just
comic.
saying
We're
that.
talking about movies, so
But again,
this is
Go
the
ahead.
movie.
That's not surprising. We know that we're going to have to get some sort of origin background, even if it's in a flashback of Harley Quinn. We know we're going to get that. I wish we hadn't seen it in this trailer, honestly.
My biggest concern is that all the stuff we see with the Joker is Harley origin stuff, because we never see, like when he says, I'm not going to hurt you, or I'm not going to kill you, I'm just going to hurt you. We don't see who he's saying that to. That could be when he zaps Harley. You know, we see Harley fall into the vat and him jump in after her, and her with him in the car. You know, I hope you have insurance. All that Joker stuff. I think we might have a huge misdirect, because there's all that magic stuff in the trailer too, the subway tunnel and stuff, that the Joker might not be the main villain of this movie.
Yeah, I'm down with that theory a lot.
Yeah, well, I think they have to show. That's the point I'm making with the Harley Quinn stuff, because we've seen Crazy Joker across the board. We've seen Heath Ledger, and it's going to be difficult to get Heath Ledger out of the mind. So what do? You add Harley Quinn into the mix. Show Joker. Does he actually care for her? Is he going off of the origin and they're doing something new for the movie, because I think that's what they really have to do to separate the Joker from all the rest, is to give him some layers. And maybe it's Harley Quinn. Maybe he actually cares enough in that sick and twisted way that he does. But that's fascinating to me, because we've seen Joker doing all the crazy Joker stuff, and there's nothing different in this trailer except for Harley Quinn and what they're doing.
Oh, I would completely disagree about that. I think every single scene we see of the Joker in this trailer is a Joker we have never seen before.
I agree
He's
with
not in the
that.
purple suit. He doesn't have a joy buzzer. There's certain tropes of the Joker that we see. And what's great about the Joker in general, although I will go back to my final image, is that in this we see him, he's got wardrobe changes and location changes and is interacting with multiple characters.
Yeah.
And that we've never seen before. It's always been this elemental force opposite Batman. And to see a Joker who actually... Heath Ledger was brilliant, but Heath Ledger's Joker ultimately didn't seem like a very happy guy. This Joker seems like he enjoys the life he has, and we've never seen that either. It's always that he's crazy and doesn't know he's crazy. This guy seems to be like he got some great meth and is going on a bender, and it's fascinating because it fits in with the history of the Joker, but it feels so fresh, and it totally, and even the laugh. I was like, how are they going to make the laugh iconic, but that's slow? It's so sinister, and so he's soaking in his own laugh, which is great, which is why I love that image. That image, actually think both of these images could be artwork. The image of him with the knives looks like a painting, and that looks like a painting as well.
I agree, and I do like the joke. I mean, I really do. I'm just talking about the moment in the best moment for me was like how many questions it opened up between the relationship with Harley Quinn, which nobody's seen and everybody's so interested in knowing. I mean, I would think that's the number one thing you want to know in Suicide Squad: Joker, Harley Quinn.
For me, my image was similar, and that was my favorite image because it was like a dog rolling in a dead thing. There was just such glee on the Joker's face as he's laying there with the guns, and it was like, wow, he's scary, but I want to watch him.
But the theme of this trailer was so fun and lighthearted in a really dark and twisted way, and I think that is the most exciting part about this trailer.
And the
Watching
palette too, it was bright, it was colorful.
People were having a blast
and they
acting
wore
in this
costumes.
movie.
They embraced the supervillains. They looked like supervillains.
And to your point, Jai Courtney came out of there out of nowhere, and I was like, "Who is that? Is that Jai Courtney?"
Well, that's 'cause
He's having a blast.
Notice
He's
he doesn't talk. He just screams at one point, and the stuff that's really funny is him
but
silent.
You don't have to talk to be a good actor. He has great expressions. He's committing. When he drank that beer, I was like, "You and me, buddy, we should hang out."
That was sound effect acting.
But I think with the theme of the trailer, Jai Courtney's performance was the most exciting for me because it was such a big surprise.
If he takes his shirt off, I will agree with you. But he's one of those ones that's like he's pretty, but
Listen,
don't speak and ruin the illusion, my friend.
We did several stories on this on Clevver Movies, and most of the comments were all talking about Jai Courtney. Most of them.
They were talking about the character of Captain Boomerang being the funny drunk. They weren't talking about Jai Courtney's performance.
Well, he was portraying that character in this trailer.
We'll see.
No, I think this is going to happen. Jai Courtney, I think it's going to happen for you, buddy.
Last thoughts, Riley.
Again, clever editing. I just can't get my mind around Jai Courtney being anything other than Jai Courtney and standing there. He had some moments, but
that's why this is exciting.
But Mark, I mean, I can't disagree with your Joker love because I love it too. But I just say this is a fight about what's their favorite moment. I'm looking at that beautiful artwork, as you said, of him rescuing Harley Quinn and how many questions it opens up. I love that.
Final thoughts, Mark, and we'll end over there.
It's similar to yours. I think we're arguing the same point, but with different images. For me, the image of the Joker, just a Joker who's gleeful and loves who he is and embraces it and doesn't feel tormented about anything, I think is fresh. It takes a character that I thought we've seen every permutation of and makes him feel vibrant. And he's going to be the Hannibal Lecter of the movie because even if he's only 10 minutes of the movie, you're going to love those 10 minutes.
Erin, final thoughts.
We all love the Joker. It's pretty clear. Everybody loves the Joker. We've seen the Joker before. We knew that there was going to be more amazing Joker in this trailer, and there was, not to discount that at all. But I just think that as far as exciting, something that I wasn't expecting, which happens a lot of times in trailers, like Batman versus Superman, I was like, oh, this trailer sucks so bad. But here I'm excited because I know that DC is onto something. And with somebody like Jai Courtney, who is not a talented guy, he's actually in a character that I think he's going to nail this.
Yeah, drunken Australian.
Hey, do what you're good at.
Dan, any notes there to add?
Well, I've been trying to find confirmation on Jai Courtney's agent. It's a topic of hot speculation on the internet.
You have to have IMDb Pro.
I have to have IMDb Pro, and I don't. I found that he might be connected or was with this place called Morrissey Management, based out of Australia, which makes sense.
Sounds reputable, yeah.
But I can't find a person responsible. I'm sure somebody.
I think
out
we
there
have
knows.
a pro account too. I'll try and get that for you.
That'd be great. The Harley Quinn origin story that you're referring to is, she originated in the DC Comics as somebody who, in the animated series as someone who worked at Arkham Asylum.
She went
When
crazy.
DC did the New 52, they started incorporating the chemical stuff that we may have seen incorporated in this trailer, which is what people are talking about. And Mark, you're right. I was wrong. You have only won one time. Back on March 1st, 2015.
Wow.
Defeating Matt Robb and Steve Zaragoza.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Matt Robb.
That was a fun one. Based on the arguments.
So which one of these two?
Yes, sadly it is one of those two.
Shocking.
I think you were close, but they gave me a little bit more interesting surprises, and I think Erin got you good by saying we've seen it before. But you added something extra, which was the Harley Quinn question and what that brought. So it really came down to teasing us by knowing what is that relationship. And I do think you made a good argument of her being there does give us something we've never seen with the Joker, which is fun.
Jerry Hall in Batman 9.
Yeah. And then Jai Courtney, I think it's a fair argument. I think we were all just talking about like, whoa, are we going to be okay with Jai Courtney? And that was a weird takeaway from the trailer. So I'm torn between those two, and I'm just going through my notes to see, and I think the question is, what is the best moment in the best Suicide Squad trailer?
Moment.
Best moment.
Oh, come
We've seen him before. We haven't seen him be good.
Exactly.
It's Jai Courtney. Aaron gets the point.
Wow.
I really
so
didn't know
good
where I
right
was
now.
going. I read the
Yes.
notes and I just made the call because we
Now
haven't seen that yet.
But let's all be honest
have
here.
we ever seen Jai Courtney be good?
Never.
To be fair,
This is better than anything he's ever done in his whole life.
Can
I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate online.
trailer.
Well, can I say it's
trailer.
already starting on hashtag Movie Fights Live, which please join the conversation if you'd like. Mainly not so much anti-Jai Courtney, although there's a lot of it. Mainly a lot of people saying no one mentioned anything Harley Quinn related, which was a lot of people's favorite moment.
Yes,
in
no
the
one did.
Her little
No one
comedic
did.
moment.
To be fair, no one did.
No, and that seemed to have hit
But
a lot of.
I'm on Movie Fights Live. Chime in. Admit it. Was that the first time you liked Jai Courtney? We haven't. I've yet to see that. So that was a very interesting argument I didn't see coming. So kudos, Aaron. You got the point.
Thanks, guys.
Round two. Now we've seen footage from the Wonder Woman movie. Are you excited? Mr. Wonder Woman.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great to see her on the big screen for the first time. Yeah, and it's a period piece. That's even more awesome.
They didn't get to show us that much, and I feel like it's unfair to judge the footage they showed
Yeah, it
because
wasn't
it's
even a
way
trailer.
rough,
It was
and,
just,
and
yeah.
there was like a truck in a shot that then disappeared. Like you can tell that was just them trying to give us a quick tease. So we're not going to judge them by that footage, but I think we're all excited. So the question we did want to ask, this has been asked a lot, but this comes from TW Awkwardness on Twitter. Shane, who asked us, what villain should fight Wonder Woman in her upcoming movie? Let's guess. She's actually had a lot of villains, and Erin, we're starting with you. Which villain would you pick?
Oh, you know what? I have to say I'm not that familiar with Wonder Woman's villains overall. I had to do a little bit of research here. Mark's gonna kick my ass.
Don't count on it.
I'm just gonna say it. So I picked Dr. Psycho. I wanted to go with a wild card here. First of all,
Look how creepy he
Dr.
is.
Psycho is a creepy guy. He hates women. He was unjustly imprisoned for a crime he did not commit because a woman and her lover said that he did. And so while he was in prison, he built up this hate for women. And all I can think about is Steve Avery and Making a Murderer. Like, America needs to see this villain. Just throwing it out there. But he's creepy. He hates women. And I think when Chris Pine in the teaser says that this is a movie that needs to be made now, I think he's referring to a strong, powerful woman being in a superhero movie.
He just has a house payment due.
Right. I thought it was pretty epic when he said it. But I think he might be alluding to the fact that there's a misogynistic situation happening in Hollywood that maybe it's time for Wonder Woman to stand up against a misogynist. And, and plus he also is beatable. Like, she can beat him. And let's be real, I'm not 100% confident that Gal Gadot, or however you say her name, is going to be able to really take down one of her signature hardcore villains, like Cersei and Ares. Like, those seem like really powerful, intense villains that I would like to see get stretched over several films, kind of like a Loki. And I think this is a nice segue. Plus, if it's going to be an origin, like old school period piece, that it might be nice to have a guy during that time think that women can't do something and have her come out, with her badass suit and beat a guy's ass. I'm just gonna say it.
All right, she wants to watch her beat a guy's ass.
Girl power.
I'm into it. Marc Reilly, who are you picking?
Dr. Psycho. Yeah, that's let's go with what Wonder Woman is right now. First off, in the space, and that's the first superhero woman movie that we've seen. And so why don't we follow that trend with one of the most popular villains in Wonder Woman's rogue gallery is Cersei. And that is a woman, she's a witch, she's a sorceress. And you know what? We have not had a strong woman villain in movies before. Really, aside from maybe Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. I really want to see a strong female villain. I mean, they've had Loki. He was one of the most popular in Marvel. DC. I mean, you had
don't forget Sharon Stone and Catwoman.
Oh,
sure, absolutely. That was a fantastic performance. But no, let's give someone that actually has great powers that can lend so well visually to a movie, and that's Cersei, who has witchcraft, who has sorcery, who can make herself almost invulnerable so she can take blows to Wonder Woman. I want to see that because we got Wonder Woman now. Let's just play it out.
If you want to see two women go at it, just Google like mud wrestling or something on YouTube, and you can definitely see that.
Mark, hold on. Before we get there, Marc Andreyko, let's hear your pick.
There's a bunch of classic Wonder Woman villains that came to mind, whether like Silver Swan or the Cheetah or something like that. But because this movie is set in World War I, it makes sense to use a warlike villain. And because DC seems to, from the Suicide Squad trailer, seeming to be embracing magic existing in their world with the Enchantress, it needs to be Ares, the god of war, because that gives the through line of what Wonder Woman is all about. It ties into her origin. How great is it to see Ares hiding amongst the evil forces in World War I? Sneaking in with them and manipulating them just to cause death and destruction. And it brings in a whole side of the DC universe that Marvel has taken 6 or 7 or 8 movies to even get to magic. To bring the magic in already is really ballsy. It's DC taking advantage of the soil that Marvel sowed for them beforehand. They're just diving into this world. And like I said, it's a movie that takes place during a world war. You have to have the god of war in there, and you can. And it's also a way with using him, you can establish a lot of stuff for the other movies in what the rules of magic are in this world, what the rules of different pantheons are. And how cool is it to see Wonder Woman in her armor fighting Ares and that big blue suit of armor, just going full force because she can, because he's the god of war. Wonder Woman doesn't like to use violence unless she has to, but against the god of war, that's where she can and know that it's not gonna be overkill. I just think that's the most interesting thing. And also too, going back to Gal Gadot, she's from Israel. She served in the Israeli army, so she might be skinny, but she could probably kick any of our asses. So I'm not going to judge.
True that.
I'm not going to judge her fight capabilities based on the fact that she probably needs to eat a sandwich because she, Michael Keaton, we bought him as Batman. So I'll wait until I see the final footage. But I think Ares is the logical one.
But do you really trust DC with magic right now?
Why wouldn't I? I actually like Man of Steel.
He also works for DC.
Yeah, I love Man of Steel.
I am a freelancer. I just got a residual check from Marvel for my Deadpool story.
All right, fair enough.
I don't trust DC with magic just yet, and I think that
Harry Potter, Warner Brothers knows magic. That's the parents.
Yeah,
of DC.
but this is a whole different realm. I feel like when you're like Man of Steel wasn't a knock. They didn't knock it out of the park. So I think there's a lot left to be proven here. Suicide Squad's a great start, obviously, but I don't know. Another thing that I want to talk about is I don't want to see a female villain right now. I don't want it to turn into catfights and two women taking down each other. I think that's an easy way to go. And I also think that Cersei's too powerful. I think that Wonder Woman hasn't gotten there yet in her story that I believe that she would take down one of the most powerful villains that's ever faced off against her.
Who wants to pay $18 to go see Wonder Woman fight a dwarf?
That's what I'm...
Peter Dinklage, okay? He has to redeem himself from Days of Future Past. past, Boulevard Trask was not an exciting
I'm wondering
role for him.
why you don't want a villain that's actually strong and that can actually put our heroine
all
in.
she has to do is put her hand on his forehead.
Well, here's the thing. Psycho worked for Cersei in one of the storylines. You can probably back me up on this. I hope
Sounds
you do.
like Game of Thrones. Cersei and a dwarf.
It does, doesn't it? It's perfect. So I think you could start with the little person. I don't know what the proper terminology is. A dwarf, and then you could pull Cersei in later, like in another.
I just
film.
don't think from launching the first Wonder Woman movie that we've all been waiting for. This is her 75th anniversary, a big budget movie. Gal Gadot, we're launching this $200 million movie where she fights a dwarf who can hypnotize
But
people.
he's so creepy.
No one will remain
He can
seated
get
when he
into her
stands
mind.
up.
No,
I mean,
and you need to go in big. And although I love Ares, I think that he needs to be set up. I really think we're on this wave, which I really want to see, and I'm going back to a really strong female villain, which I don't know why you think they would just be like slapping each other. I mean, this is a woman that, a good villain has this great kind of motivation, and she wants revenge on Wonder Woman's mother for exiling her. So what better way than to have a villain come in and have a personal score to settle? I'm going to do it with the daughter, and it's Wonder Woman. We're going to see something. They could go to blows, and this Cersei can get in her mind and do spells.
But you're talking about we've already seen some footage. We already know a couple things about this movie. We know that it takes place during World War I. Cersei would be a great villain, but what you're saying is counterintuitive to what we've already seen. So we have to think of a villain that would work in what we've already seen. A movie about Cersei and a very personal story about getting revenge on the child of the person who wronged you is great, but that's not. What does that have to do with the World War I storyline?
I don't know yet.
We know from what DC has released and that special that was on the other night that she comes to the man's world to stop destruction. So. While I would love to, I'm sure Cersei will appear eventually. I don't think that would fit in what we've seen. I think that's obviously an entirely different movie.
Well, we don't know that. I mean, there have been rumors, there have been scoops over at Heroic Hollywood who said that not only Cersei has been rumored to be a villain with Eva Green, we also have Ares that might be rumored with Sean Bean. So right then, you got Ares and Sean Bean. He's going to die at the end by probably getting his head cut off. So we
don't
need
say that about
somebody
Sean.
like Cersei to really kind of, and she's one of the most popular villains, as
Wait,
is
DC's
Ares.
going to put a bunch of villains in this movie?
Yeah, well, that's a rumor. I'm not going there yet, but that's a rumor. But Cersei and Ares is on the table right now, at least for this scoop. So
Can
we
I
don't
just
know
say,
yet.
I'm going to defend Ares here for a second because I clearly am not going to win Dr. Psycho. Okay, I'm just going to say it. I'm just not going to say it. I'm just not going to say it.
All right.
Okay. One of the biggest complaints that I heard, and there weren't many from Star Wars, was from guys who, I think predominantly a superhero audience is mostly male. I think there are a lot of females who go and see it, but a lot of guys said that they kind of missed like a character they could relate to. If you have a movie with a female lead and a female antagonist, I think a lot of guys are going to have a hard time feeling like they related to what happened in that shakedown, in my opinion. I mean, I think Ares is the best choice here. I think Cersei's just too powerful right now.
Well, look, I don't need anything else. When a fighter
I know.
resorts and helps
I'm
the other
sorry.
fighter win, and it's between there, you gotta give it props. Mark gets the point.
Woo!
Damn.
Marc Andreyko.
The end times are coming.
Sorry.
When
I'm
someone
so
turns
sorry.
That's I know.
on someone's argument midway,
I'm
it
sorry.
sort of
Unfair.
levels the scales
I
and
would
unlevels
think-
the scales.
I would
and,
think the woman would be on my
Right,
side for the
right.
strong female villain.
and,
but
I think you made some good
That's
arguments. It
sexist
wasn't even
thinking.
just about that. It was on the fence between you two, and you gave him Marc Andreyko a point. Dan, that's sometimes. Has it ever happened? It's happened.
No, that happened to one of the ones I was. And no, someone else got a point because
Okay.
we
Well,
both agreed that they
I'm
were
losing track.
I have to say that the vast majority of our Twitter followers were backing Andreyko on that one.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. It
Some
was,
other names I saw mentioned: Apollo and Cheetah.
Cheetah,
She
yeah.
is great, but she's too small scale for
Yeah.
a first movie. You need to go big.
And looping back, I know I bashed Jai Courtney before, so during this round, we've gotten actually several tweets from people saying that Jai Courtney was actually quite enjoyable in Spartacus, the TV series.
Because he was half naked a lot.
He was.
So I'm just going to play Jai's advocate here and say that there's been some love for him.
I'm sure
on that
he's a
side.
nice, wonderful person.
but there were a lot that agreed with us. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just trying to be nice.
The thing that I think will be
We said he looked good in this.
you know what? He's speaking in his own accent for a first time in a
Yeah.
movie, so
Good for
that's a
him. It's
huge that's a
refreshing.
huge
That's
thing.
true. Yeah.
Hopefully he'll change our mind. Anything
Accents
else,
are
Dan?
coming in later.
No, that's about it. I don't know a lot about Wonder Woman, so I just trusted that you all knew what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Me neither. That was
Yeah,
a
me
tough
neither.
one.
I did just research.
That was a tough one.
All right,
Poker
we'll
face.
keep chime in on Movie Fights, hashtag Movie Fights Live. We're on to round 3. World War Z 2 is in need of a director. So
And a
who
new
should
title.
be the director? I don't think that's official, but World War Z 2, Z 2, Z squared.
R2Z2, they can do a Disney crossover.
WWZ2. So who should direct this? That first movie, a lot of people were okay with it. It was not the book, but it was successful. People were surprised. It was a hit, so now they're doing the second one. Who should direct, and what should the movie focus on? We don't need a full-fledged pitch. You're loud, but where's the angle? Where do we go? How do we keep this interesting? And this time we're starting with you, Mr. Reilly.
All right, I picked Drew Goddard. The guy's had a pretty banner year. He started directing Cabin in the Woods. He then moved on, and he was a showrunner, created the first 2 episodes of Daredevil, which is by far one of the best superhero TV shows of all time. And also, he wrote The Martian this year. So this guy has got some geek cred. He's kind of done the funny horror with Cabin in the Woods. He's done very serious kind of action with Daredevil, and with The Martian, I think the science is there, and he knows what he's talking. And the guy deserves. He was rumored at first to be maybe taking on the solo Spider-Man movie, which I thought would have been bitchin'. But for him to take on World War Z, I want to see a little bit more lightness to the movie. I mean, it was such a bummer. It was good, but I want to see more of like how the world was affected. I know we went to a lot of different areas in the world. I want to now see what the cure is like, get the cure, and then go all over the world. I mean, I want to see them really taking this cure and seeing the effects on the entire world after this zombie invasion. And I think Drew Goddard, he just got it. He deserves a big franchise movie because we've seen how he can do it, not only in writing, not only in show running, but in directing as well.
So taking the cure around the world and curing people. That's where you're going with it.
Yes.
Directed by Drew Goddard. Okay. Excuse me. Marc Andreyko, you're up next.
I would like to see Danny Boyle. And I know people are going to say, well, he already did the zombie movie with 28 Days Later. Yes, he did, but he's also a great director with actors, and he's a great visualist, which you don't always get that combination. And he has yet to be given a truly big budget movie. I think the biggest budget he had was probably what was the Leonardo DiCaprio movie? The Beach. But I would like to see him play in somebody else's zombie sandbox. And, the thing that about 28 Days Later is it's all about the characters. And I would like to see them embrace some of the stuff of the book and be post the apocalypse. They're finding, you know how they find landmines up 50 years after, find pockets of zombies as society is resettling and what the new rules are. And you can have a character-driven piece, but with big moments, but embrace the part of the book that they couldn't do in a first movie. You have to set up that world. And I think Drew Goddard's great. I think he's a great writer. But I think that you need someone that's got a little bit more experience behind the camera that can do a visual world. And you look what Danny Boyle did with 28 Days Later. That movie is terrifying. That movie is and he did that for $1.75. If you give him $100 million and a big movie star behind him, what sort of wonderful, cool thing can we see?
Erin, what's your pick?
So my pick was Alfonso Cuarón, who not only is available right now, which some of these other picks are not available. He's also an Oscar-winning director. Also, Children of Men. I loved that movie. Very similar vibe to World War Z, post-apocalyptic, the world's ending. A really great film. And Gravity, obviously, is just like a spectacle porn. It's disaster. And I think that in a sequel to this film, the reason why I really loved World War Z a lot of people didn't. I really enjoyed it. I thought that the spectacleness of it all was great, and it was a great balance with story. Alfonso can do that. We've seen him do it in Gravity. We've seen him do it with Children of Men. One of the things that Drew I worry about is that he doesn't have a lot of experience directing. He's only directed Cabin in the Woods, and he worked on that, wrote it, and co-wrote it with Joss Whedon. So I feel like there was even maybe a partnership, with Joss helping him there. I think he's just a little too green to have a franchise like this just yet. Plus, it sounds like this is going to be a big project. The studio is very involved always, a big budget. And someone who knows about big budgets is Alfonso Cuarón. He had a massive one with Gravity. With with Danny Boyle, 28 Days Later is one of my favorite movies ever. It was terrifying. But why would he come back to... He left on a high note in the zombie genre. Why would he come back and risk in a sequel not doing as well? I just feel like he wouldn't do it for that. And also with Drew, he also came in and helped rewrite World War Z to make it as good as it was. I think it's a bad sign that in the sequel, having saved the original, he's nowhere to be found. He's not writing it. He's not trying to, or at least as far as I know, being sought after to direct it. He's on to other things that he's passionate about. So I don't feel like either one of these directors are options. And Alfonso Cuarón is available, and I love him. He's so talented. He's a great writer, too, as well.
Guys, what do you think?
Well, I think Alfonso Cuarón's a great director. I think one of my favorite movies he did was a really small film called Y Tu Mama Tambien.
Great
It's
movie.
just an amazing, heartbreaking film. But I think that you talk about, would Danny Boyle come on board a sequel to a franchise that isn't his? I mean, Alfonso Cuarón did it already and had a horrible experience on Harry Potter, arguably the best Harry Potter movie of the franchise. But he would have to bring in, whoever does World War Z is going to have to at least acknowledge some of what was established before visually. And I just don't think, I think that Danny Boyle, I think he could see it as a lark. After seeing interviews with him, he seems like the kind of guy that goes, oh, people wouldn't expect that. I could do something that I would never get to do with a BBC budget for my movies. And he's also an Oscar winner. He's also great with actors, which is important because you need the performances to ground these special effects. And I do think Drew Goddard, maybe bring him on board to write it because he did save the second half of that movie. But I just don't think, I think that there's too much potential and they've already experienced so much trauma on the first one doing the reshoots and everything that if Danny Boyle was available and they said, hey, you want to come have fun for a couple of months, I think he would be great. I just don't think Alfonso Cuarón, for the reasons you don't think Danny Boyle would do it, are the same reasons I don't think Alfonso Cuarón would do it.
I just think Danny is busy. He's going to be directing the Train Spotting sequel.
You know
in
what? You add a
2017.
zero to a check offer and everybody becomes available. So
Yeah, well, I think with Danny Boyle, if he wanted to direct a zombie sequel, he would have done it with 28 Days Later. He would have done 28 weeks later. I think that he did that. He's off.
Yeah, I
He's
agree.
off and he's moving on. And then, Mark, you bring up a great point about Harry Potter with Alfonso Cuarón, and he's not going to come back and do World War Z 2. That's not in his... He would never want to do that. He's off creating awesome visuals for his next whatever it may be. He needs to be challenged, not with a World War Z sequel. And now you bring up a big point why I chose Drew Goddard. He fixed World War Z. So for him, he's not green.
you didn't say
he's
that.
not green. He is actually very, very, very accomplished in what he's doing, and he has directed.
His
script,
the
writing.
problem is that not everybody's good at everything. Not everybody's Alfonso Cuarón who can write and direct and produce and all that stuff. I mean, Drew Goddard's a really good writer, absolutely, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a good director. And like I said, Paramount's going to be gun shy. They still are suffering PTSD, even though that movie made a lot of money, because up until the day that movie opened, everyone was like, this is not going to work. And they spent like double the budget fixing it. So I don't think they're going to give a movie that's going to have a budget of $300 million if it's any minimum. They're going to give that to a guy that's
Using you that as your last points.
Also,
Erin.
part of our argument is our plan for what we'd want, a pitch for the sequel. And my pitch would be in the final moments of World War Z, they found a cure, but it was inserting a disease, a deathly disease, into people, which made them basically invisible to the zombies. Eventually, they're going to have to find a cure for the cure, which is the deadly disease. So in my sequel, I'd like to see them on a time clock to try to find a real cure for this disease and a cure for the zombies. And also, viruses mutate and change. I'd like to see a new virus, a new strain of viruses that are going into different pockets of the world.
Well, that's similar to what I would love to see too. With when they dig up stuff in the Arctic and they say we found a flu virus that killed the world 5 million years ago. We're going to freeze it and keep it in Virginia. Why? Because, like you said, viruses mutate. I think you could do a really great movie with them going over the world post that, and then this virus is dormant now. They're dormant. My version, but the virus evolves, and there you go into your third movie.
But you have to find a cure for the cure first.
Last thoughts.
My final point is I don't know how you guys are standing on this thing that Drew Goddard is not qualified enough. I mean, the guy's worked with Joss Whedon, directed a movie that was a big hit and has now become a cult following, and that he's worked with Marvel and, showrun Marvel Daredevil. I mean, this guy, I think that argument
first of all,
very...
big hit is overstating things.
Daredevil?
No, Cabin in the Woods.
I said cult following.
And
cult following.
saying that he has experience. How many $150 million plus movies has he directed with big stars who are producing the movie as well for a big studio? There's a lot of political dancing.
What was the budget on Cabin in the Woods?
You chimed in there, but your last points since he overtook your last point. Would you like to add one more, Mark?
Nah, I'm okay.
Okay. Dan, anything to add?
Yeah, a couple budget questions. Cabin in the Woods, estimated $30 million budget. 28 Days Later was done for about $8 million.
Yeah.
Mark, at the beginning, Reilly said that Drew Goddard had a great year. Cabin in the Woods was actually in 2012. Daredevil and Martian were both developed in 2014, 2015.
That's what I meant.
And Danny Boyle actually didn't turn down 28 Weeks Later. He had commitments to Sunshine, which was another movie he was doing. He stayed on as executive producer. And
Isn't there talks about 28 months later?
He has continued talking ideas. He said that he's had some concepts for 28 months.
So he's going to be busy.
Later.
He's going to be busy.
So he's
Cross them over.
He's not disinterested in that franchise. He just has been very busy.
He's busy.
You all had good plots. You all picked good directors. Based on the arguments, I just think Mark hit you guys hardest. His plot was good, and he did. Marc Andreyko got the points.
Rebuilding snooze
I
fest.
think you got them both harder in your points.
Wow.
I won't keep dwelling, but I thought there were some good, strong arguments there.
My world view has been shaken.
Even though I think I personally don't like that choice, it was based on what you said.
Awesome.
All right,
I thought
round
you got
four.
this one. I thought you won it.
Alfonso Cuarón.
No, you used her argument against her better because there's no way you would do it after Harry Potter, which was a very
Or
valid
after
point.
winning an Oscar with Gravity.
Round four. The shortlist for the actors in line to play, and Drew Goddard hasn't made a $100 million movie yet, so that was a valid point you made. But you tried hard. That was good. You got on this one. Round four. Shortlist of directors in line for shortlist of actors in line to play the young Han Solo in the upcoming Star Wars anthology was released. Now we've argued this before as to dream picks, but now we actually have a short list of what they of who they're thinking about. Based on that short list and based on this tweet from Stazigeta, Ron Cushboy, who should play young Han Solo based on this short list that's going around town. And this time we're starting with you, Erin. Who'd you pick?
Oh, this was so hard. I mean, how do you pick from the lineup of just terrible choices?
Do we want to tell the people what the list was that we had to choose our names from?
They can look it up. You're going to pick three of them in a
Don't
minute.
judge me. Don't judge me. First, I actually really like my choice.
Dan, do you have the list handy?
I am pulling it up right now. Give me 10 seconds.
Okay. I'll go ahead and start. Yeah. So Emery Cohen is who I chose. He is a standout breakout star in this year's Brooklyn. Definitely up for several, not him, but the movie is up for different Academy Awards. He's fantastic in it. He looks young. He has this charm to him that Han Solo needs. He also looks a lot like Han Solo to me, which some of these other choices I've not been fond of, like, Miles Teller, come on, get real. But he's really talented. He's young. He also, I think he can play older, but he can also play younger. I don't know what the age range they're looking for Han Solo because there's such a wide range here. But I like him. I think he's talented. And if Disney and Lucasfilm go with an unknown actor who we don't know much about, we haven't seen a ton of work from him, I think this is a perfect way to go.
Great. Just saw Brooklyn last night. Really cute.
So
really
sweet.
Cute. Good date movie. My wife and I loved it. Marc Andreyko, you're up next.
I'm going with Jack Rayner. He's a young actor who most people probably know him from being in 5 seconds of a Transformers movie, but he was just in.
Oh, he was the one who was trying to date the underage girl.
Sure.
Are you sure he wasn't in
that right?
NSYNC? Are you sure he wasn't
He's
in
the one who's
NSYNC?
trying to have the Romeo and
he has-
Juliet
he-
laws.
he,
He has visible
That's correct.
body hair. He
He's
couldn't be in
the
NSYNC.
racing guy who was trying to bang
The Romeo and Juliet
who
clause.
was
Romeo and
banging
Jack-
Mark
yeah.
Wahlberg's
All right.
underage
Not using
daughter
that
in
against
the
him. I'm just so I remember.
Hey, we all got to work. But he was also most recently in Macbeth with Michael Fassbender and what's her name, Marianne Cotillard, and he was fantastic fantastic. He's got presence, and the fact that he was in Macbeth and he's British means he has training and knows how to act. A lot of the American ones, who I don't think any of us named, like the Dave Francos and the Miles Tellers and all. And who was the other one? The kid from Ashton Elgort. It's like
Ansel Elgort.
Take 6 weeks with the Royal Shakespeare Company and then re-audition, because all the American choices don't look like men; they look like 12-year-old boys. You know, these guys. Emery Cohen, Jack Rayner, and I'm not sure who you picked, have presence. And Jack Rayner, like I said, has training. He knows how to act. He can do Shakespeare. And he's got, we have no expectation of him. We've seen him in little things. We saw him
in a little movie called Transformers.
Yes, but it wasn't like that was a huge role. And in Macbeth...
And Delivery Man.
Yes, you saw Delivery Man.
I did.
Was Vince Vaughn?
Yes, he's in that movie.
But I think that he's got a rugged quality to him that Emery Cohen just looks a little too young. He looks like Han Solo before his bar mitzvah. And I think that Jack Rayner looks like he could hold the screen.
Jack Rayner looks like a soap star.
Riley, who are you picking?
I'm picking Scott Eastwood. All right.
I was wrong about his pick.
Yeah, Scott Eastwood. You guys, he's actually, what's really interesting.
Is he related to Clint Eastwood?
He is. He is the son of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, you
looks
didn't know?
like him a little bit.
He's gorgeous.
And what I like about Scott Eastwood that is so important that you need for Han Solo, because you're going to go in that it's Harrison Ford. So we got to erase all those expectations.
So let's
and
use
you guys have picked both people that are, aren't really on the radar, like Miles Teller. Everybody would probably lose their mind. Scott Eastwood has a chip on his shoulder because that guy started as Scott Reeves. He didn't want the nepotism, and he auditioned all over town. Look it up. Yeah.
He did a Nicholas Sparks movie.
Okay,
and he's in Suicide Squad. He's not under the radar. This guy.
Hey,
Hold on, all right, let's let him get us
Yeah,
together.
we're talking
Sorry.
about Transformers and Delivery Man, whatever the hell these other guys were doing. So don't hold him for that.
they
So
all
wait,
you have to do
clarify.
is look.
You're talking about he went out there with a different name first.
Different name.
Didn't want to be an Eastwood.
Didn't want to be an Eastwood, and he developed this chip on his shoulder. And now he's coming out in Suicide Squad. He's getting bigger. He was in Fury for a moment, and he did a really interesting thing in Fury. So I know he can do it. And we need to just subtract ourselves from all of these names and everything and just have somebody that can do it. He could look the part, and come on, behind the scenes, don't you want his dad, Clint Eastwood, kind of coaching him for Han Solo?
No.
Hell yeah, you do.
No.
I do. I think that would be interesting. But that aside,
I have this like weird underlying sense that you're not happy with any of these choices.
None of them. They're all so bad. The problem with these two is that they're both pretty boys. They're really great to look at. I love watching them. Magazine shoots, they look amazing. But as far as on screen, they don't have what I think it takes to carry an entire film. I mean, Han Solo, Scott Eastwood has to carry that movie. And I've seen him plunder in movies like that Nicholas Sparks movie. Couldn't have been more boring. And that's right up his alley. He's gorgeous. He should be able to carry that movie. He's terrible. Scott Eastwood is terrible. Jack Rayner, I agree with you. I do think he's talented. But if you put both of these guys next to a photo of Han Solo, they don't look anything like him. They both have like blue eyes and they're pretty. Han Solo has hazel eyes and he's a little bit kind of goofy looking. He has like a little bit of like goofy scoundrel charm about him. These are soap stars.
Those are glamour shots that they chose.
Is like
Those aren't
boy
candid
banders.
shots. That's a posed, made-up thing.
Let's look at a pose made up
That's a
thing of
headshot. I
Emery
think the Scott
Cohen.
Eastwood is from the Nicholas Sparks movie, though.
Emery Cohen has all of the different elements in his acting repertoire. He
Guys,
can
what do you think of
drama.
Emery Cohen?
I actually like Emery Cohen. He was on my short list as well. I just don't think that Emery Cohen, unless they're going to skew really young, he reads really, really young.
Yeah.
And I think that I've only ever seen him in Brooklyn, which was a great performance, but I'd like to see him see more about what he can do. I just think that Jack Rayner already has so much, he's not going to learn on the job like a lot of American actors do. He comes fully formed as an actor, and go watch him in Macbeth. It's he's not one of the he's got a great part in it, and he does so much silent work in there, and that's the true testament of an actor. Scott Eastwood, first of all, that he didn't want to use his name, bullshit. He might have said that, or a publicist might have sent that out. I don't buy that for a second.
He's changed his mind.
I like the story behind it because he apparently auditioned for his dad and got turned down so many times he got pissed off. That's how the story goes.
Sure, he did.
Yeah.
And
But he did change his
know him?
mind.
Yeah.
And he's gorgeous. He's amazing to look at, but he's a block of wood.
We need
But
somebody
Jack
with a chip.
Reynor,
Have
I
you
don't
seen
like
Fury?
his American accent.
Have you seen him in
Yes,
Fury?
yes.
Yes.
He was great in Fury. So I don't buy this that
Anybody
he's not
can
a good
pull off
actor.
a good 3
You know, and
minutes.
don't
Yeah.
you can't judge someone on a
you
Nicholas
talked about
Sparks.
Jai Courtney being the magic of editing, and
Yeah.
Mr.
Yes.
Block of wood
But
is
see,
suddenly
it's
suddenly
very,
Laurence
I have
Olivier.
seen Scott Eastwood act well, and
Rules
that's
are
in
rules.
Fury.
You got to use your in
No,
32
in Fury.
seconds he's in the movie.
No, and I can't say the same about Jai Courtney, so I stand by my point. What I'm talking about is somebody though, and I want an American doing Han Solo for some reason. I just want.
Find an American actor that's the right age that actually sounds like a man that doesn't sound
I mean,
like
what,
this.
well, what
Emery
this
Cohen
list
American?
is. No, I don't
No,
think
he's
so.
not. No, he's not.
We got two,
But Jack
like,
Reynor
English?
doesn't
What
have
is-
a great American accent. Everything I've heard him in where he speaks American, an American accent, it just doesn't sound.
Well,
it
Han
doesn't
Solo's
sound
not
right.
American.
Yeah, but
He's Corleone.
I don't think the American thing matters because I didn't know who any of were. They all acted just fine, even in Transformers. But so let's stay on point. Last thought. Why yours is better than theirs? We'll
Well,
start with you, Riley.
Scott Eastwood has the lineage behind him, and I think he has the good look for it. He has the chops, whether you guys believe it or not. He has the chops, and I think they really need somebody that's not going to bring a lot of baggage to the part.
Yeah, because having Clint Eastwood as your dad is no baggage at
Not
all.
anymore.
Or a Nicholas
Not
Sparks
anymore. He's
movie.
in Suicide Squad, and you're Nicholas Sparks. Come on.
That's baggage if I've ever seen it.
Aaron, final thoughts.
So Emery Cohen, he is an up and comer. No one knows who he is, and that's kind of the trend that we've seen with Star Wars. I think it's played out really well for them. I'd like to see a newcomer, someone that we don't know about, take that role. He does look a lot like Harrison Ford. Of all the choices that there are, he does look the closest to him, and I think he has a wide range. And I've seen him in Brooklyn. I've seen him in A Place Beyond the Pines. He's good in that, and I think he can do it. He is young. I do agree with you, but I think that gives you longevity to have him do more, throughout the next 10 or 15 years. Although, how old are all of these? Like, Scott Eastwood looks really old.
Dan will tell us when we go to him. Marc Andreyko, your final thought.
I think Scott Eastwood is a non-player in this.
You really don't like him.
No, I don't. I'm sure he's a nice guy, and I'm sure he treats his dog
very
well, but he's just
handsome.
not a very good actor, and I just don't see him. The thing about Han Solo is there's a charisma necessary there, and I think Emery Cohen. I think Emery Cohen's a great actor. I think he's got a great future ahead of him. But when I put him next to Jack Reynor, Han Solo is also as a masculine presence. He's a dude, and Emery Cohen just reads a little soft and a little young. And I think that Jack Reynor has a little bit of the beginnings of the world weariness and the roguishness capable in what he can do now. I don't think it's beyond Emery Cohen, but I haven't seen him do that yet. What I've seen Jack Reynor do, I'm like, oh, that guy could play Han Solo and be interesting and be Harrison Ford adjacent, evocative of what we love about Han Solo, but making it his own.
Dan, anything to add there?
Jeez, you guys kept me busy on this round. Okay. Emery Cohen is 25. He's an American. Jack Reynor is Irish-American. He's 23. Scott Eastwood is American and 29 years old. The other names on that list that we didn't mention, Miles Teller, Ansel Elgort, Dave Franco, Logan Lerman, and Blake Jenner. Mark, I know you don't believe it, but Scott Eastwood was credited under the name Scott Reeves for several film roles before he changed it to Scott Eastwood. So if it's
Reeves, so they thought he was Christopher Reeves.
If it's a fraud, it's his mother's name. So if it's a fraud, it's a very elaborate fraud. And
That never happens in Hollywood.
Two names kept coming up on Twitter for people. One of them that they would rather see than any of these. One of them is Taron Egerton from The Kingsman.
Well, yeah, everybody keeps saying that.
And then there's an actor who actually played young Harrison Ford in The Age of Adeline. His name is Anthony Ingruber.
Yeah, but he can't act.
Well,
I would have picked those too, but they
Aaron,
weren't on the list.
This is what the people are saying.
People,
I'm not
people.
fighting you.
He can't act.
The list is awful in general. I mean, it's
And
just.
Taron Egerton's, I thought
like
he was
him a
the
lot.
reason to watch Kingsman. But
Yeah,
but we
absolutely.
know exactly what he's going to do, and I don't want to see him do watered down Kingsman meets Harrison Ford.
And he's not on this short list.
And he's not available.
Yeah.
He's busy. There's something else he signed up for too.
A Robin Hood remake, because
That's
we
right.
need another. It's been 10
That's
minutes
right.
since the last
That's
one.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
true.
that's embarrassing.
All right, based on the arguments, I think they got you pretty hard on Scott Eastwood, and the fact that he couldn't pull off a Nicholas Sparks movie is a valid concern.
I never saw it, so
It's pretty bad. She got you pretty good on that. So it came down between Draco and Aaron, and you both were pretty good, but she got you back pretty well. You almost gave it to her a little bit, but then you found some points. But the big thing you got against her, which I was with you on, was the young, but I thought she made a good point back to you, which is longevity. That got the point for me. Aaron gets the point with Emery Cohen.
That's good.
Well, that's fine, because Emery Cohen was my first choice. And we had to flip a coin, so I'm glad I argued
Good thing
well
you didn't
enough.
argue. Tell us that in the beginning. You fought well. You almost got it. Round 5. All right, sorry, so I keep track of things. HBO is showing a 7.5-hour cut of The Godfather. So, we want you to pitch us the ultimate director's cut of the movie that you wish you could have seen. Now, this could, we could add footage, we could do things, we can be creative with this, but pick something that you, what's the director's cut you wish you could see?
Can I ask a question for clarity's
Yes.
sake? I read this question as a movie that the footage exists, not a fantasy.
You'll get bonus points if it exists.
But you could pick a fantasy movie. You could say, I want to see.
Within reason, it's got to make sense.
Okay.
We don't. If we could guess, maybe if they had it. I don't want you to be like, let's make a 10-hour version of Shawshank
Pixels.
Redemption. Yeah, whatever it is. There needs to be a little bit of a reason as to why
Okay, all right.
you're making that guess.
Thank you.
But you're first. Let's go. What did you pick?
Mine is, there were a lot to choose from, but the one that came down to what would I like to see is David Fincher's Alien 3. Because that movie, there's so many great ideas that made it to the screen, and then you can see where the studio came in and said, we need more bad CG, and we need less plot. We need more just awfulness. And, it was David Fincher's first film after directing all these great music videos, and all the allegorical stuff he put in there, the commentary about prison, the commentary about misogyny, the weird abortion symbolism in it. I think he was trying to do something. Now, yes, he did kill Newt in the very beginning, which I think was a mistake, Newt and Hicks, but I get why he did that, because he wanted to make a movie, a David Fincher alien film. And just looking at the director that he is now, I'm so curious. And I know this footage exists. They reshot like a third of the movie, I believe, very much like World War Z. I just want to see what David Fincher, a young David Fincher, was doing with his first big budget, because that movie, and allegedly the cut has been seen by different people, and there's bits and pieces of it that have dribbled out into the public. But I would like to see what his first full vision was given control like that.
Interesting. Erin, what did you pick?
I'm just like, David Fincher hated that movie. Why do we want to see a movie that David Fincher hated? I picked Back to the Future. Everyone has a relationship with Back to the Future. It's a great film. A lot of people know that it was once cast, Marty McFly was cast by a guy, or with a guy named Eric Stoltz, who shot for about 5 weeks as Marty McFly, and then Zemeckis had to fire him because he thought he wasn't that funny. And actually, a lot of the shots you see in Back to the Future weren't reshot. They shot over his shoulder. They didn't have time to do reshoots. So a lot of the scenes of the other actors acting in a scene with Marty McFly were scenes they originally shot with Stoltz. So I would love to see that first 5 weeks of footage edited together with the true shots with Eric Stoltz. I know that Stoltz didn't leave that project with Bad Blood. I think everybody, it's been so long at this point, nobody's holding a grudge about this. And we have seen scenes leak on I think it's the 25th anniversary DVD Blu-ray.
We've seen stills. We have not seen actual footage.
You've seen, I've seen footage.
We've never seen it with the dialogue. It wasn't synced up.
Exactly. I want to see it synced together. And I do know the writer of Back to the Future has said that footage still exists in a vault somewhere. They have not destroyed it. And there's a reason why they haven't destroyed it, because they need to go back in and re-edit it. The fans would love that. I would love to see it.
All right, Riley, what are you picking?
Well, most director cuts, for me at least, this is my opinion, that they exist almost to kind of please an additional way to look at the movie that's not canon, so to speak. And then I know so much about this particular movie, about what was left on the cutting room floor, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I want a director's cut of Jaws. I would love to see Spielberg go back and rescue some of the shots that are out there. A lot of them are character stuff, stuff with Quint, where he's going to get some piano wire for fishing, and he has a little exchange with a little boy. We have another one where at the very beginning, Chief Brody is forcing the guy to identify the remains of Chrissy to make sure it's her, and what that's doing. And then there's actually footage of 2 big scenes that the shark was actually working that they cut out because they thought it was too gory. And that's one, the shark actually coming out of the water and attacking Alex Kintner on the raft, and another one in the estuary where the guy that saves Brody's kid is actually pushed by the shark as it's going after Michael Brody, and the guy actually pushes Michael Brody away. Those are the kind of things that I would love to see as a fan of Jaws. Just go, wow, what could have been? And see Spielberg go back and go, yeah, if I had, the time, I would have made this more. But here is a cut that I would love to see. It just sounds so interesting.
But isn't Jaws like the longest movie? Like, how much longer
Nope.
would you want?
Absolutely not.
How long
it's
is
the
Jaws?
best movie in the world.
How long? I mean,
Whoa,
how long
Dan's
can
face.
you? How
missed
long
that.
can
Come
you
on,
sit?
JT. You gotta
I
jump
look,
on that way sooner.
and I love your
So I guess
idea.
this
Dan
is
was
I guess this is
horrified.
between you and me now.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just
No,
It was just
Jaws is
horrifying.
like 2.5 hours long.
I don't know how long
How long
it is,
is
but I
Jaws?
don't think
I don't
it's.
think so.
I don't think it's one of those where you're like looking at your watch kind of movies.
It's not. But how many more scenes of an animatronic shark do you really want to see go down? I mean, we saw it. I love Jaws. Okay, I do. I think it's great.
I don't think you do.
I do. I like it. I enjoy it.
I don't think you do.
I don't
Finally,
wanna see a
someone more
long director's
controversial than
cut.
me.
Well,
I
let's-
just would be. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Well, yeah, it's not that long. I mean, you're going to need actually a little bit more length than Back to the Future for you. I don't think there's enough for a director's cut for Eric Stoltz. They got rid of him after 5 weeks.
It wouldn't be a
So
whole
you have-
director's cut, but
Okay.
it would be a director's cut
Well, that's
of
what
they have.
Yeah, but then you would have the first half would be Eric Stoltz, and then we'd be like, what happens to Marty?
To do the Back to the Future argument, to kind of shoot that one down, the question was ultimate director's cut, which implies a finished, complete piece. There just
Yeah.
wasn't enough stuff with
We're
Yeah,
not,
Eric
you
Stoltz.
can't, I'm not allowing you to discredit her because we accepted the answer. It's fair. We're going to see the version
Oh,
of the
okay.
movie that has him. It counts.
But it's not a full movie.
So 20 minutes of Back
Sure,
to the
but it's
Future.
still a
So
good
we can
point.
see a short making of feature.
It's yeah.
But people would
I
watch
think-
it.
and Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg have said they don't ever want to release that footage because they feel bad about Eric. They didn't fire him because he wasn't funny. Steven Spielberg watched the dailies and said it's just not the right energy. He brings a darkness to it that doesn't feel what the movie should be. And they both said numerous times they don't ever want to release it because they feel that
Well,
would be.
when they die one day.
well,
I agree.
I
It's
can
a
still-
fascinating It'd be fascinating for the what if of that character, but I think it fits more on a special feature at
and
the
I
beginning
believe
of
Robert
Back to the
Zemeckis
Future.
has in his will that they can't remake it.
right.
Like there's some weird clause in his will. As far as Jaws,
How do you know that?
because
read it.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
And as far as Jaws goes, I don't want to see director's cuts of movies that are already perfect. The reason that movie works is because we don't see too much gore. We don't see the shark. The more visual and the more gory the movie becomes, the less interesting it becomes. If that movie, if that shark had worked the whole movie, Steven Spielberg wouldn't be Steven Spielberg.
Correct.
Because he did like that movie's like Hitchcockian in the best sense of the word.
agree.
Movie's terrifying because of what you don't see. I would be interested to see like a bunch of the dailies and be like, oh, that would have.
Which confirmed, Dan, that was a mistake, right? Because
Yeah,
the shark
the
didn't work.
salt kept the salt.
Yeah, the shark didn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right because the salt water kept
Steven
destroying the
Spielberg's
shark.
original vision was to show the shark in the first scene.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work, and they had to shoot around it, which is where the barrels came from. They just had to,
Yeah.
they couldn't just burn there sitting on the ocean.
And it was the
So they had
amazing
it
to-
was
how
the
that-
happiest
yes,
of
yeah.
accidents because he wouldn't have been Steven Spielberg. That
Well,
movie,
I might give you the gore and the extra added shark, but I'm also talking about a lot of very interesting character moments that didn't make it in there.
But we have so many great ones already. We have Quint telling the story.
Sure.
We have stuff. There are characters in the movie as it stands for me are all so rich and so drawn in four dimensions. They're so great. And
You're preaching to the choir, brother.
that I don't need more. It would just be gilding the lily for me. I don't need anything more. That movie is one of the few movies that I think as is perfect. If I don't ever need to see anything more about it because it works on a level. I mean, literally, people stopped going to the beach the year that movie came out. Places were losing money because people wouldn't go in the water.
Again, this is director's cut that I think is really a part. When there's a director's
Mm-hmm.
cut, it's usually done in reference to the fans that want to see what could have been. It's an extra added fun. And that's why I would want to do it, because it's Jaws. And it's Spielberg's first movie that put him on the map.
I'd like
and
to
it's so
see-
interesting. I know he would come back. David Fincher wouldn't get anywhere near Alien 3 because of that. What
Well,
he
and
went
who-
through
what
with
the
Would
thing
a
that.
about
lot
Alien-
of
the
people
thing
show
about-
up to watch Alien 3, the director's cut?
Oh yeah, a lot of people would. I think Alien 3 is
It's
the same.
messy.
It's the same reason that you don't want to do a remake of a movie that's great. You want to remake movies and see director's cuts of movies that were almost good or had good ideas that weren't fully
Well, I'm-
realized. Both of these movies are perfect. I don't need to. If no extra footage existed and I never knew about it, I don't need to see anything else. And these movies are perfection. Alien 3 is a frustrating movie, and that's the kind of movie. And since it was taken away from a visionary, I'd like to see what his ultimate vision was.
Got it. Final thoughts from Erin.
I think Alien 3, David Fincher probably doesn't have enough footage to do a director's cut based on what his relationship was like with the studio. He was a young director. I think it would be interesting, but I don't really think it'd be that much better than what we got.
You're talking about not enough footage, and you have 5 weeks of Eric Stoltz on a 20-week shoot.
I'm just saying, I think it could be interesting. It's a different person. It's a different actor. It's a whole different situation. And I also
really.
killed off the two leads in like the first few minutes of the film. So it's like, why I don't have any nostalgia to go back and rewatch a David Fincher version of that movie. For me, Jaws, I think Jaws is a classic. It's really impossible to argue against Jaws. I mean, really? How? But I just feel like there's not much more there that would make it any better than what it is.
Final thoughts, Riley.
I'm with you on the. I don't think David Fincher would go back, and I don't think there's a lot of people wanting to know what
that's not the
Alien 3
question
would be.
either.
Maybe Aliens or Alien,
Yeah.
because those are the movies that really do it. Alien
not
3, I think
three.
only the diehard cinema fans would want to see that.
Dan, any cleanup there?
There's so much confusion swirling around all of this stuff. Okay, just to clarify some things, because a lot of people on Twitter are asking. First of all, the Godfather epic is actually a combined cut of Godfather 1 and 2.
Sorry, yes, I didn't
told
clarify that.
chronologically with some extra scenes. Back to the Future. The footage exists. Bob Gale has said that it exists and that there may at some point be some kind of a release of it. They have shown only footage, not sound. Eric Stoltz has said he would be curious to see it.
I'd be curious to see it. Eric and I agree.
Mark's scenes have been released as deleted scenes on various home videos, but there's never been an integrated director's cut. Now, what everyone on Twitter is losing their mind about, so I feel like I have to clarify it, is that there is on the Alien Blu-ray what is called a assembly version of David Fincher's vision, which is they invited all three directors, Cameron, Ridley Scott, and David Fincher, to come back and oversee
Haven't
director's
seen that.
cuts. He declined, and so the producer of the box set oversaw his version of what he thought David Fincher's movie would be. So for those of you that are saying that there is a David Fincher director's cut,
It's
exists.
not.
It's
actually.
not
It's
his.
not
It's not
actually. It's an alternate version of the movie, but it is not his cut. He did not.
It's
return
like the
to
alternate
oversee.
version of Dune.
Again, confirming there was stuff that he had a vision originally that was not the final cut we saw.
Yeah,
Yes, he did. And they actually, when it came to Blu-ray, went so far as bringing in some of the actors to overdub some lines and stuff. Again, not overseen by Fincher. So that's why there's some confusion on Twitter as to that there is one that exists. There's an alternate version
Fascinating.
that
They
exists.
actually went the foot that said, "Do what you
Yeah.
want." That later, he moved on. All right. Based on the arguments, I think Jaws is perfect. So
Yeah.
I think he got you on that. I mean, and they're out there, but and then I think yours is curious, but I think this is more curious because I think to undermine what would Fincher have done in his first Alien movie is. It is fascinating to know and see where it came from. So I give Marc Andreyko the point on that
You
one.
are sweeping this.
And that fact even almost helps more because he didn't even want to do it. That makes me even more curious, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, wow. Okay, final round. Mark, I don't think you can
Thanks a
get
lot.
this. So you can
win the
still
point.
get the point,
Yeah.
so you don't go home pointless.
Damn right.
But it's going to be Erin and Marc Andreyko in the finals based on the score we have so far. But in honor of Dirty Grandpa, Mr. Lo Grande asks us, what's the best and most unexpected comedic performance from a usually dramatic actor? From Liam LoGrande. Mr. LoGrande, thank you for the question.
Great
That's
question.
fun. Dirty Grandpa has Robert De Niro going crazy again with Zac Efron. There have been a lot of other fun roles like that from dramatic people you didn't expect them to do, and we want to pick the best one. Erin, you were up first.
Oh, so Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. One of my favorites from Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise is a handsome leading man, an action guy. So when he took on this role, I was completely shocked. Also, how this all came to be. He was presented with the script for this movie to star as the lead in it. And he turned that down because he didn't have time because he was shooting a Mission Impossible film. But he put in his 2 cents and said that this character needed to be developed, this Les character. And the studio loved it so much that they incorporated that character into the script. Tom Cruise ended up, some conversations were had, and Tom almost took the lead. But who was the lead in that film?
Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller. But Ben Stiller had taken the lead.
We directed it too.
Yeah. And he also was like, hey, listen, I've taken that lead role I originally offered you. The only one that's left is Les Grossman. And he was like, I'll take it. So it was a character that he actually created and he owned. And in that final, I guess the end credit scene where he's dancing to that ludicrous song.
Apple bottom jean. Yeah.
Amazing. Tom Cruise, unlike we've ever seen him ever before, that and ever since.
Riley, what's your pick?
I'm picking an actor that actually started this all, and you have to be a really long-term film member to understand this, but because it actually created a saying. But it's Leslie Nielsen in Airplane. This was the first comedic role he ever did because he was known as a big heavy in most TV shows, Poseidon Adventure, and so it was such a brilliant casting because the Zucker brothers put him in and they just basically said, do what you do in these disaster movies and just play it straight. And it was by far the greatest comedic performance that changed his career trajectory. And then he passed away known as a comedic actor when that's not who he was, actually. He started as a dramatic actor. So I find his part, it's the going Nielsen is what Tom Cruise did. That's what you would say. He was going Nielsen in that moment.
Marc Andreyko, who are you picking?
I'm picking Harrison Ford in Working Girl because it's the first time we had seen a star of his magnitude take a supporting role to two women in a movie. And in the movie, he is delightful. It's almost like watching a great 40s Cary Grant comedy. He lets the women take the big juicy parts, and he shares the stage with them in the most generous of ways, and he's funny. He's light on his feet. It's the happiest I've ever seen Harrison Ford in a movie or in real life. He just seemed like he was having a really good time. And you love the character that he plays and you're rooting for him. And he's such a good actor that he makes you think Melanie Griffith is a better actress than she is. Because she's fine, but she's not the most versatile person on the planet. And it's just so great to see a star of his caliber, one of the biggest stars in the world, come in and say, I'm going to let these two women do the heavy lifting, but I'm here to have fun and support them. And watch it. It's like a fairy tale fable that we all know, and it's just a great, fun, empowering movie that really holds up. And his performance, unlike Tom Cruise, who's kind of a glorified cameo, and saying Leslie Nielsen these guys went Nielsen. Well, Leslie Nielsen was great, but he was a D-list actor before Airplane.
How dare you, sir?
No one. Tom Cruise and Harrison Ford doing these parts is a big deal because it's a departure from them. And Leslie Nielsen, like you even said, he's acting the same performances, but now we're just mocking it openly.
He changed the way it's been done because of that. I mean, that's what you cannot deny in this. And I have no skin in this game anymore. I mean, really. It's just I can't even imagine what it must have been like for, and I bet Harrison Ford and Tom Cruise referenced Leslie Nielsen doing Airplane.
I would wager the world on that. I don't think Harrison Ford and Mike Nichols said, "Did you see Airplane?" or Repossessed?
No, I said Harrison Ford and Tom Cruise will probably reference
Mike
that.
Nichols directed Working Girl.
No, I know. No, and I don't think Leslie Nielsen was brought up on set. I'm just saying that there's reverence for Leslie Nielsen.
Reverence or reference?
Aaron, what were you going to say?
I like Harrison Ford in Working Girl. I think it wasn't that far of a stretch for him. I mean, it wasn't like
he was happy. When have you seen him happy in a movie?
I mean, I get what you're saying with that, but as far as there was some Han Solo in there. He was charming and witty, and he didn't really play a character that is so memorable.
Tom Cruise is just covered in makeup, so let's deal with that.
But that makeup allowed him to perform his butt off, literally. I think we'll never see Tom Cruise behave like that outside of a costume. He was a character actor. He was a character actor in that film. I've not seen.
Go home now, rent it.
I haven't seen
Airplane?
I haven't seen Airplane. I'm sorry.
I
know Leslie's work, but I haven't seen Airplane. So,
but you love Mr. Magoo.
I do love Mr. Magoo. But it's a classic. It's old school. But yeah, I can't argue against you because I haven't seen that film, but Harrison Ford is not that far of a stretch for him.
Yeah, I would agree with
acting.
that. He's so charming that I would agree. I love him, and he does a smirk and all, but I don't find him funny, comedic.
What are your thoughts against Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise, he was great. I can't take away that he was fantastic in that.
He created that character.
That sealed it. Aaron gets the point.
Yeah.
You had a chance there, Riley. I was going to give you that point, but then
You were
going to
give me that point. I was not going to lie to that.
You got to keep fighting. But you both got him out when you pointed out. It's a lot of Han Solo-esque qualities.
A lot of it.
It came down to you, and then you buckled, man. I tried.
Any of us could be in that makeup that Tom Cruise wore and do that same performance.
No cleanup, but going into the speed round, Mark, Aaron, I just want to tell you both good luck.
Oh, no.
We're all counting on you.
Thank you, Dan.
He
knows.
If anything, there was some stuff you said about Jaws and stuff, but I'm most offended that you haven't seen Airplane.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Please promise you'll see it.
I will.
It's really funny.
One of the funniest
Although I've
movies ever made.
suggested that, and then some of our audience is like, it's not very funny. I don't know. Apparently it doesn't hold up
It's
to the younger
sometimes the
crowd.
nostalgia.
Naked Gun does hold up.
For
Naked
sure.
Gun is amazing.
Naked
That's
Gun
on
is
Netflix, guys.
awesome.
If you don't like Airplane, at least go try Naked Gun.
Netflix and chill,
So good.
guys.
Yep.
Netflix and chill.
All right, guys.
No, Netflix and watch Naked Gun because it's a good movie.
And chill.
Okay. So, Dan, anything to add there while I organize my speed round questions, which is going to be Erin and Marc in the finals?
Just
Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Yeah, Leslie Nielsen was he was I don't know what he was a working actor before. He was a TV actor.
Yeah, he was on television all over the
He'd been
place.
in sci-fi movies in The Poseidon Adventure, which
Yeah.
he's unintentionally comedic in that movie. But yeah, that was his first major turn to the Leslie Nielsen that we know today, which is super funny, man. Files of Police Squad is also a great TV show. I'm just vamping for a while Andy narrows things
I'm with
down.
you, man.
Sorry,
That was amazing.
I was late and I had to make sure I speed on. So, Ken, the question, we have a photo of the thing you just texted me? Okay, great. All right, we're going to start there. All right, we have a visual aid for speed round. Do you guys know how this works in the speed round?
I've never done a speed round.
Ooh, well, you have 15 seconds if you both say this. I'm going to ask a question. If you both say the same answer at the same time, it's whoever said it first gets that to argue that. You'll have 15 seconds to argue. If you say the same thing and you say it second, you'll have to pick a second answer, and you'll have some time to quickly think, and you'll both be arguing immediately. Make sense? You'll have 15 seconds to start, and then you'll each have 5-second rebuttals. Dan will be keeping time, and you hear that sound, time is up. Make sense?
Heart's racing right now.
All right, these two movies are in the bargain bin, and we have a visual aid that's going to pop up in 1 second on that monitor so you know which one's going to buy. Which of these two movies in the bargain bin should we buy? The Smurfs 2 or
Medea goes to jail.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
I heard Medea goes to jail first
There's
from
a glare
Marc,
on the screen. I couldn't see the Medea.
and that is Smurfs 2, not Smurfs 1.
What?
Okay, Medea goes to jail. Marc, go ahead. 15 seconds on the clock.
Those movies, the whole Medea oeuvre is so weird and so unintentionally funny and crazy. The alcohol was invented to drink while watching a Tyler Perry Medea movie.
But
They're
Tyler
hilarious.
Perry is just like.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I thought that was my
15 seconds
Oh.
until you hear the bell.
Technical-
Oh, give him 5 more seconds.
5 more seconds.
Those movies are crazy. I defy you to not get sucked into it if you're flipping through the TV and you see him going, hello, and you're...
Okay, 15 seconds for Erin. Why Smurfs 2 over Medea goes to jail? 15 seconds, go.
Smurfs 2 made a ton of money at the box office. Kids loved it. They went to Paris.
Wow.
I fell asleep. Neil Patrick Harris is awesome in it. And, it's a Smurfs movie. It's nostalgia.
Wow, you did pull some stuff there. I'm impressed by
What?
that.
I have no idea
Marc
what I
has
just said.
5 seconds.
Rebuttals or that?
Yeah, 5-second rebuttal.
Smurfs 2 didn't make enough money for a Smurfs 3 to be greenlit. They're actually going back and rebooting the franchise fully animated, so no one saw that movie.
5-second rebuttal, Erin.
No one's making Medea movies anymore? I have no idea.
They just greenlit
No!
Boo with Chris Rocks from Chris
I'm
Rocks.
gonna
Take
lose
5.
this. I'm gonna
All
lose
right.
that. The bin round.
I
Smurfs
think
2.
that was pretty clear cut. But Dan, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'd go with Marc.
Marc Andreyko. But you did pull out some facts there, so kudos on there. You're keeping champs for a score for me. Yes, Dan?
Yeah, we come
Okay.
into it tied, and now
They
Marc
really
has
go
a
to
1-point
Paris.
lead.
Okay, great.
What do we have to go to? Because this is painful.
You have 5 of these. All right.
Okay, I'm sweating.
Best movie with the word son in the title. Spell it either way.
S-O-N or S-U-N?
However you like, Marc.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
Sunshine?
Oh no, Spotlight of the Spotless Mind?
You say it?
Yeah, Sunshine of the Spotless
what is- what's it
Mind.
called?
Is that what it's Sunshine of the Spotless? No.
doesn't-
No,
no.
that's not it.
Ooh, this is.
We have one valid
All
answer.
right,
Marc's answer
Sunshine,
is
I got
valid.
from you.
Sunshine?
You need to give me a valid title
Shit.
name. You haven't done it yet. 5 seconds.
What happens if I don't say Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
There it is.
Just under the wire.
Just
Yes.
got
Under
it.
the wire. Okay.
All right. We got Sunshine versus
Oh my
Eternal
gosh,
Sunshine.
I'm
You said
sweating.
Sunshine first, Marc. Let's do it.
A great underrated Danny Boyle sci-fi film that it feels like it's a part of the 2001 franchise. A really smart cerebral film that has really great visceral moments. It's really visually beautiful. It's got a great cast, and it's a movie that I think most people haven't seen, and that it's a great thing to discover. It's really underrated sci-fi.
All right, Marc, make sure you're listening. Riley and Dan, we're going to need your help on this too. And Erin, you have 15 seconds. Why Eternal Sunshine?
Eternal Sunshine also very great as far as script goes. Great cast. Mentally, there's a lot happening. I can't argue this right now. I'm like falling. I can't even remember who directed it.
Oh,
I'm falling
5-second
apart.
rebuttal,
I'm
Marc
falling apart.
Andreyko.
I'm falling apart. I'm going crazy right now.
I feel bad.
I know you should.
5 seconds.
But my
You
movie's
should.
still better. Sunshine's just a great movie. I mean, it's a rewatchable movie. It has a great, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Aaron, 5-second
Wait.
rebuttal. Oh, she's Googling.
no. I really want to know who directed it. I can't think of it.
Michelle
in my-
Gondry.
Michelle
Oh,
Gondry.
Time's up.
damn it.
Mark gets the point.
Earned, deserved. This was a mess. What just
Sorry.
happened? That was a meltdown.
yes, Dan.
You'll see more of that on The Amazing Race. Tune in on February 12th to watch me freak out in caves.
Hey, there you go.
Two things. If Mark wins this point, he
For
takes
sure.
the game. And secondly, ironically, I think Jaws, Airplane, and Eternal Sunshine might all be in my top 10 of all time. So
Love
we
it.
go.
I haven't seen it in so long. That's
why I like you, Dan.
Clearly.
there you go.
Okay, I want you to pick. This is it, Aaron. If you don't get this, it's over. Pick. Tell me the best song from any Disney movie.
Let it go.
Be Our Guest.
Let It Go versus Be Our Guest. All right, Let It Go is up first. Aaron, why is that
Let
the
It
best?
Go. We're talking about an Oscar-winning song. Just dropping the mic on that. And plus, everybody and their mother knows Let It Go. It doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 80, you could be 8, you could be 8 months old, and you are singing Let It Go. Yeah.
Be Our Guest, 15 seconds, and the clock. Go, Andreyko.
Be Our Guest is evocative of the old big MGM movie musicals of the 50s. It's super smart. It's super clever. The lyrics are great, unlike a certain song about a frozen girl. It's just a classic moment and one of the best movies Disney's ever made.
5-second rebuttal, Aaron.
Can my rebuttal ask him to sing a line from Be Our Guest?
Well, I don't sing, and they'll have to pay for it if I sing too much of
got
it.
it.
So
No, I'll give you permission. You have 5 seconds, Mark.
Be our guest, put our service to the test. I'm not going to sing anymore.
line.
It's going to pay. They have to pay Disney. That's just enough to not pay Disney.
All right, based on the arguments. Mark, I want to get you in this. Riley, what did you think based on the arguments?
Oh,
Do I
the
not get my
game-winning
rebuttal?
point.
yeah, I did.
You did. You just sung it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's cheating. I didn't know
Oh,
that.
that's not fair.
That's not fair.
Well, then
Riley.
I'm going with I love the point of it reminds you of the MGM musical because I totally agree with that. And maybe I'm a little biased. My niece sang Frozen so much I just want to throw it through the window.
And Frozen feels like it was grown in a lab. Let's make an anthem.
Dan, based on the arguments.
I think Mark had a little anti-Frozen bias inherent in him, so I'm going to give Aaron the benefit of the doubt and let you break his
How
fair.
did I not get? I mean, I won that fair and square.
Yeah, I think
Let
you
It
did too.
Go
And I
is the
did
most-
say you have 5 seconds if you'd like to sing it, and I think you just you're bashing the movie, not giving me enough reason why the song's better.
That's because she
The song was very successful, so what she pointed out.
Velveeta. That doesn't mean it's good.
But
Success
it's a
doesn't mean
counterbalance
good.
argument, and just because you knew the song, yeah, Aaron gets that point. She's still in it.
Yep.
Nice.
Let's stretch this thing as long as we can.
I don't.
four.
We're
Hey,
waiting
I
on this. I'm
won
not
with
trying
Let
to
It
stretch
Go.
it.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I lost painfully.
All right, here we go. I'm sorry, I'm going through a bunch of lists just trying to find a good one. Here we go. All right. Sorry.
Is this game point? Is this
I'm
game
just trying
point?
to find. Okay, here we go. I'm just picking
No,
one at
this will
random.
tie it. Or
Again, if Mark takes this point, he wins it. If Aaron wins the point, we are tied, and we go to the final question.
Okay.
Good luck, guys.
Lots of
Okay,
We're all
here we
counting
go.
on you.
I feel like we've asked this before, but whatever. I'm just trying to find one quickly. Here we go. What is the best sequel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Winter
Winter
Soldier.
Soldier.
I heard Winter Soldier from Andreyko first.
Avengers. Ultron.
Oh, let's just cut to the chase.
Well, you gotta
Are you kidding
actually
me?
argue.
Okay.
Age of Ultron, Winter Soldier first. Here we go. 15 seconds. Go.
Winter Soldier expanded on a character that could have been considered dull and too preachy, like a Superman. If that's what Captain America is in the Marvel Universe. It made a great spy thriller that not only was a great character piece and had great actors, Robert Redford, it expanded the Marvel Universe in a way that was small yet global.
We have now Age of Ultron. Go ahead, Aaron.
Ultron was a stronger villain than Winter Soldier. I think Avengers 2 made more money than Winter Soldier. And, God, that hurts because Winter Soldier is one of my favorites. And also, I feel like all the Avengers coming back again, it was a risky thing. Like, it could have failed miserably.
Mark,
but
5
it
seconds
didn't.
to add on.
Avengers Age of Ultron is a bunch of missed opportunities. It's too long. Ultron is not really ever threatening. The promise is never there.
5 seconds to add on, Aaron.
Ultron is very threatening and one of my favorite villains that Marvel's done so far. And Winter Soldier is not that threatening to me.
Riley, based on the arguments.
Winter Soldier.
Gosh!
Damn.
Of course.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's Winter Soldier. Very close, Aaron, though. I wanted to try and stretch it a little.
Winter
hard,
Soldier is
I know.
one of my favorites.
No, you went for
Guys,
it.
that was a
you
very
sold
fun
it well.
episode.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in.
Good win.
good
Well
job.
deserved.
I want to say tomorrow, if you're watching this on YouTube on Saturday, tomorrow something fun's coming. On Sunday, you'll want to watch for the YouTube audience, so pay attention. On to Sunday at 10 a.m. I want to thank our panelists, Marc Andreyko at Marc Andreyko on Twitter. Thanks for coming, man. You won.
It feels nice.
See,
Thank you. Thank
pulled
you.
it down. You got pouty and you won.
Hey.
Is that all I have to do to win around
No,
here?
it's not. You have to put together well-constructed arguments and fight very passionately.
Amen, brother. Testify.
Nice.
But no, great job, Mark.
Thank you,
Great job, Erin
Medea.
Robinson. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks.
At
Yeah,
Hey
had a
Erin
meltdown.
Robinson on Twitter. Yes.
Yes.
An Amazing Race premiering.
February 12th on CBS. You will see a breakdown like you just saw multiple times.
Cannot wait.
It's
Nice.
amazing.
Cannot wait to watch that. That'll be a lot of fun. Marc Reilly at Reilly Around on Twitter. Anything?
Yeah.
Geek Nation, anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I'm at managing editor over at geeknation.com. Go check it out, and I'll be on The Amazing Race too. No, I will not, actually. No, that's not me. So I can't wait to see you.
I'm gonna be on the new season of Flavor of Love.
Dan
Are you
Burrow on the
really?
couch
Now
at
that
Merle
I'd
Dan.
watch.
Fantastic job
That
today,
I'd
keeping
watch.
us straight.
Thank you. You guys kept me on my toes. Thank
Sorry
you.
I offended you with my jaw statements.
That's all
Sorry.
right. It happens.
Just fighting here, you know.
It's all right.
All right. Thanks to everybody else watching, and stay tuned for After the Fight if you're watching on ScreenJunkies Plus, or tune in to watch After Fight later. We'll be talking for a little bit and taking your calls on Skype. So excited to do that, and thank you as always for watching. That's everything. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Woo! Mwah!
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version.